Hi and welcome to this video on Destiny 2 Any Weather Builds. These builds that I'm going to be showing off in the series Any Weather Builds are builds for any weather, any season, any time, because they are just good builds regardless of any seasonal mods. You can tack on seasonal mods on all of these builds, but you don't really need to. This build is a perfect synergy among everything you're seeing here. All of these are okay. Some of these are personal preference, personal things I would want to do. When you are copying any of these builds, I will cover the things that are necessary for the build to work, but always change it to how you want to and how you want to just finagle it to your personal liking. This is a key aspect of this build. This is a key aspect of this build, and this is too. You can get away with something else here. Those three things are key for the build, because the overall build is designed around the Skyburner's passive Scorch application on Hipfire, which leads into this, which gives you on Scorch combatants, just Scorch targets in general, because you can do this in PVE as well, or PvP as well. Scorch a target, kill the target, you make a sunspot, which gives you all these benefits. But with this, for you it's doubled, and you give the allies the healing and the ability regen just by running this exotic, even though the twice as long is good enough on its own, because that is twice the ability regen that you would have just by running through it. And even if you're standing in it, it goes away, you still have twice that amount of time, so you always have even longer just by running the Phoenix credit. All three of those synergize so well and allows you to do so many crazy things. This build is my personal, I call it breaker. My naming format is the subclass and then the general name that fits what it's supposed to do. This build is called the Breaker because it is my general go-to high-end PvE build. Specifically, like, they're running more high damage in your face builds, like if they are, as in my allies, are running high damage in your face builds. I should run this because I can constantly give them health on demand because I'm going maximum healing grenade, different things like that. Just fully diving into the healing, and this amount of healing makes it where me and my team have been able to clear things with this exotic, or with this build overall, that we wouldn't have been able to otherwise, because the amount of healing is fucking crazy if you are allowed to get it off. If your allies are just killing everything, not good, which is why I have actually in the past called it out. Always call out when you need a kill, because that gives everyone a fuck ton of bonuses. Bonus healing, bonus ability regen, like I've talked about. But, everything else is up to personal preference, whatever you really want to use, because you don't even need your melee to make sunspots. Your gun will do that on its own. Everything else is just up to really personal preference, what you really want to do. All of these are even up to personal preference, really. None of these are really necessary, and that's why my series is called Any Weather Builds. This is a simplistic build that you can customize however you see fit. This is my version, so you can see the potency of it and what you can actually accomplish if you fully delve into some amazing exotics and just amazing synergies that people don't really talk about, which is why I personally absolutely love this entire game, because of the amount of shit you can do in it. All right. The pause there was because I was looking down on my phone to try and stop a alarm that's going to happen in like 10 minutes. I cannot figure it out. It's not saying that it's active, but it is also saying that it's active. That is my last episode was a little bit ago. This is not my actual recording time when I should actually be recording. I have Monday and Friday for my recording times. That is what I have. This is a little bit later in the week, so I can actually post it and just have another video out for Any Weather Builds. Somebody that I forget the name, it's like Ike, something like that, on the previous video. If you want to see him, you can go to that video and look at the comments. Not saying watch the video, but if you do want to see who it is, look at the comments. He wanted, or she wanted, to see more videos like this. And this is actually a Titan video, like they're Titan, I'm a Titan. My first video was on Warlock, or was on Hunter. My next video is going to be on Warlock, just to kind of even it out. I have some crazy builds on Warlock, some crazy builds on Hunter, some crazy builds on Titan. I barely play Hunter and Titan, or not Hunter, Titan, Hunter and Warlock, but I have the most majority on Titan. I play everything on Titan. Titan is my main. I am a Titan IRL, if you did not know this. I am 6'2" and broad as fuck. Uh, with all that said, this is personal preference as well. Even the mods really are personal preference because you can go without the high damage, but I'm wanting the bonus damage of this plus Frenzy, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that plus then Radiant, they all stack on one another, which, if I remember correctly, Frenzy is like a 15, that's like a 15, and then that's like a 15, which all adds up to a fuck ton of damage. I personally run. I know a couple or a good bit of people run the elemental damage resistances. I personally don't think it's worth it, even in PvE, even in PvP. Previously, I don't know if it still counts, but melee damage resistance allowed you to take 3 melees instead of 2 in the old sandbox. I don't know if that changed, but the new sandbox, I don't know why. Things even like concentration aren't a one shot. Even if you have melee damage resistance, you can get one shot or not one shot. It just depends. It's like it has to be a crit or something on a roll of a dice chance. I don't get it. Something's funky, but that previously has made me survive 3 melees, which allowed me to go complete Titan, which you should never do. You should never go maximum Titan and just start punching, because they could easily have a shotgun. That's the ultimate counter to a Titan, completely and utterly. Um, Always go with these because, and yeah, I was talking about elemental damage resistance. The elemental damage resistances aren't good overall. Like all my builds are designed around being able to just slot it on because of the things it does, and not having to worry about the environment. These proc on things you wouldn't expect. Like melee damage resistance also works on the stomp mechanics for bosses. Concussive dampener is concussive dampener any area of effect, which I think includes fire as well, because it's also an area of effect. Sniper, they don't have to have a sniper necessarily. They could be just far range. Like think of PvP, it's scout rifle ranges, which allows you to take even less damage to them. I think that also worked in PvP, but don't know. I always used it, but it will allow you to take more damage from longer distance. In PvE, that's just handy, especially depending on the build, depending on the encounters, depending on what you're doing. That can just be incredibly handy because extra damage is extra damage, or extra survivability is extra survivability. Where all of these are depending on what they're shooting at you, which is pretty bad, to be completely honest. They're not pretty bad. You can build into it. Like, say, if you're wanting to maximize Risk Runner, you could go that plus arc damage resistance and just have arc damage resistance plus arc damage resistance. And if you didn't know, Risk Runner, you can toss your grenade at your feet if it. Actually, all of them will damage you. Actually, no, not all of them will damage you. Flashbang, you have to follow it, different things like that. But if it can damage you, it will proc Risk Runner's effect, which will allow you to then do everything without having to be in an environment that has arc damage, which is pretty cool. Shit, I'm sorry that took 8 minutes to explain the build and explain little things here and there. This build is not even worth it to go to the Cosmodrome. If you do want to experiment with different builds, like general uptime on builds and general just maximum uptime, because sometimes you're going to take things into strikes and different things that are strikes in that general tier of things. Because like the classic campaign is strike tier, depending on how powerful you are. So having strike tier shit is very fun, because strike tier shit allows you to have a lot more freedom in what you do and a lot more just overall creative liberty, because you don't have to worry about maximum survivability, maximum damage, blah 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 blah, because you can just do it. You just do anything and not have to worry about shit, unless you actually fuck up. And that is not a bad thing. Everyone fucks up here and there. Even I have just splatted in PvE low-end strikes because I just wasn't paying attention. Or jank or some other reason. Shit. Shit. Okay, that mechanic is very helpful, where you can actually, if you haven't seen my previous video, or not my previous video, my video on skimmers. I have 2 of them because I started learning, or I made one video when it, basically when they first got, or when I first got the skimmer, I didn't play when it first dropped, when I first got the skimmer, and then a video a little bit afterwards when I started studying it more and more. The mechanics that are in the skimmer's just general thing are fucking crazy. The shit you can do is fucking crazy. And just for like a good little bit, hopefully I can jump off fast. Nope. I could have easily gone up there, relatively speaking, but that's not what the video is about. The video is about the build. Just, there's some crazy shit you can do with a skimmer, and I know that this is FOMO as fuck, but if you did... Okay. Next, most definitely, because how Heir Apparent works, next Guardian games, which will kind of ease the FOMO. Next Guardian games, if you do want to compete... Okay. Next, how the skimmer got acquired is you had to get... The easiest way, and the way I got it, was getting a 10% on a, or a high 10% on a Nightfall run. The competitive Nightfall specifically, which had a lot of different modifiers, which wasn't really hard. I think I did a 2-man, which was fucking crazy. But if you farm it and you go maximum, like completely working with the mechanics and the thing, which one of them is spin, or... My main emote is spin, which is why I said spin, but emote and then finish something, which was a gold bar or up, which gives you bonus points from that finish. Completely building into those and maximizing as many bonus points as possible will guarantee it. But the cool thing, which will make it so easy for anyone and everyone that wants to do this, do it when the daily reset happens. Because I did it, and my friend Chester did it, because that was the 2-man, did it daily reset happened. We realized, because we played it just before daily reset and then just after daily reset, it changed the map and completely changed the things. It got it completely reset, and we got a 10% right after that. I don't know if that was just because we're absolutely fucking crazy, but that will allow you to get it a hell of a lot easier than having to wait each week. Because having to wait each week, there's only a possibility to get it. Each day allows you to get it a hell of a lot easier. But because it's next, you try your best to do it this time. But next Guardian games will allow, or if you prepare for next Guardian games, because you can get better and better and better, get better loot, get better gear, make a build around it, completely just focus in on it. Get prepared for it, because the skimmer's fucking crazy. Because buying things in the game allows the developers to have more money, but you never need to. I personally prefer to play for free and do everything for free, because that's just how I like to play. I like earning my shit, not just paying for my shit. I was gonna say buying and paying, which I said buying, or paying. Nah, don't even know how to pronounce that. Try your best to build towards that and get the skimmer then, because the skimmer can do some crazy shit. Don't worry about FOMO. This game is actually pretty good about FOMO. Hell, even nowadays, there's ways to get previous rewards from all sorts of seasons. Like, what's it called? The exotic mission rotator allows you to get seasonal weapons from previous seasons, which you might not have, and they can actually drop red border, which allows you to craft them too. And I'm just gonna stand right where this big bitch can shoot me, so you can see this shit. Because survivability is pretty fucking good, even though it has been nerfed a fuck ton. The beauty about my specific version is if, say for example, I am taking a lot of damage, I am about to die, I can instantly boom, even while having restoration active, which can instantly keep me in the fight pretty fucking easily. And that healing grenade works for allies, different things like that. Just a fuck ton of survivability and just outgoing damage and ad clear, because the Scorch application isn't on direct hit, it is on AoE. Which, if you didn't know, the Skyburner's Oath was actually horrible, not horrible, it was good, relatively speaking, for the previous sandbox, but because the new 3.0 system, oh I got an exotic, because of the new 3.0 system, it was kind of bad, but it's never really been horrible in my personal opinion, even though a lot of people would say that, because of the grenade launcher mechanic itself, and if you did not know, because it is a projectile weapon, even while ADS'd, it gives you the ability to not have any damage fall off. So in PvP, you could be across the map sniper ranges, causing a fuck ton of flinch and doing maximum damage to whoever you shoot. And the hipfire AoE was a lot bigger, which allowed you to do damage around corners, being a little scumbag if you really wanted to be. And PvP is all about who can be the bigger scumbag, so don't ever take that as an insult if I call you a scumbag. Like even Stasis bitches, Stasis Warlock bitches, specifically, which do not get a kill unless they already freeze somebody. Those specific people. They are absolute scumbags, the lowest of the low, but it's PvP. Do what you do. If that makes any sense. Like, I really do not mind it. It absolutely pisses me off, but that's what PvP is designed to do. Like, I want to teabag because that is like the biggest person to teabag. The absolute cannot really get a kill without it, but I bet they could. That's just a lot of ease of use, if that makes any sense. I hope that makes a lot of sense, because PvP is meant to make you angry. It's going to make you angry no matter how you play, what you're going to play. PvP is meant to piss you off. You're going to find somebody that is going to piss you off no matter what. The people that typically piss me off are the Stasis bitches, Stasis Warlock bitches, because they cannot get a kill unless they freeze. Typically, but that's just how you use the build. That build is very good and very powerful if you use it right, which is what's annoying about it. It is not that it is that it's easy, but that is what the power is about, if that makes any sense. I'm trying my best to explain it, because I'm not actually like, go fuck yourself or anything like that when it comes to the Stasis bitches. I just call them Stasis bitches because they are the most annoying of the annoying in PvP, in my personal opinion. I hope I explained that good enough, because I don't want somebody thinking that I'm an absolute dickhead and want a specific playstyle to run hell. I love all playstyles, just some of them are a lot more cheesy than my personal taste. Something awesome about an aspect, or a fragment I am rocking. Because of how... Holy shit, I already got half my melee. Because of how the hipfire plays Scorch instantly, the fragment that allows you to get melee energy just by scorching a target, you can instantly get back your melee ability. Basically, if you have a fire NATO, do your thing, and then just keep applying Scorch to all sorts of different targets. Because it's applying the Scorch, not doing Scorch damage. And doing that, it makes different fire nados, which allows you to do a lot of ability energy. I thought I had that. It didn't really seem like I did. Defeating. I thought there was one where it's applying Scorch. Did they change that? Because I could have sworn that was... Could have sworn that was part of the build. Or it's applying... No, it's applying Scorch gives class ability. I was mixing my previous build on this one. But that's what's very good about that previous build. The doing that gives class ability, which is what goes into that. I am sorry. That was a flub on my part. But still, the ability energy on kill with the Scorched Combatant allows you to have ability energy on top of ability energy because of the fire native. And if you can't tell, to maximize fire NATO spawning, just hip fire everywhere, and you don't even really have to be accurate if you cannot tell, because the AoE is fucking crazy. And the people have said that Solar 3.0 is one of the weakest 3.0s. I personally find it pretty good. Like, Warlock kind of get the shade end of the stick. There's not a lot for Warlock comparatively to what they could do. Like, the middle tree is just fucking gone. If you know, you know. The middle tree is just fucking gone. But Solar Titan eats fucking well. Soul Invictus was previously on just ability kills. Because it's on also Scorched Combatant, you can get a finisher off and different things like that. All you have to do is is just scorch the target and kill the target. And sometimes your ally can kill the target if you scorch them and still cause Fire NATO. I don't know if it does the benefits, because it's technically their Fire NATO, but I think that's just one of the newest glitches. And this is technically a bad thing, but I personally find it as a personality trait so to speak, of Destiny 2. With every good expansion, there is more shit that breaks. That is a bad thing, that is a downside, but I personally find that enjoyable because it's always different. There's always something new. Every update completely changes everything. Like, part of the reason why I justify and part of the reason why I love it is because, like, for a human body, for example, and really anything ever, I don't know the exact timing for anything or for anything else, but a human body. Every 7 years, I think 7, 8 years, you are a completely different person. Relatively speaking, all your cells have died and changed into a new thing, like died and regrown. And you're a completely new person overall, which can and will cause you to have different allergies, different taste buds, different all sorts. Like you are a completely different person, so to speak. But that same general logic of every 7, 8 years can be applied to Destiny, but its regeneration cycle is every update. Think of it like that, where there's a lot of new updates, a lot of new beautiful things, but there's little quirks here and there that have to be ironed out again. And that is a downside of Bungie's spaghetti code, but like I've been saying, it's just a cool personal touch, even though it's not really on purpose. It's more, hell, it is actually Destiny's personality trait. That is the best way to describe it, because its general parents, relatively speaking, which is the Bungie devs, did not plan for this. It's just a happenstance that happens every single time that just happens. It's more Destiny's personality trait than anything else. And something awesome. Radiant gives you the ability to shoot their barrier champions, but also any wall or any barrier, really, like dex barriers generally and different things like that, you are allowed to shoot through. But because I am rocking throwing hammer, I can walk up, boom, I should get smelling, and just keep applying it. The weaken is because of the seasonal artifact, not because of the any wither build. And something amazing about the super, you can use it as a you don't die button for an ally. Like you see they're about to die, absolutely just explode. You can pop your super, run up, and yeet a hammer at them. And if you hit them directly, they're instantly basically full health. Relatively speaking. Which can and will save your ally's life, because I have done that so many fucking times. Shit! I landed right behind that. I would say he got Mr. Presidented, but it was just standing there. I'm the one that shot it. Ooh, I have boys. Also, something amazing about the newest update to how the 3.0s interact with champions, because ignitions are anti-unstop. Yeah, that's the right words. Anti-unstop. That allows you to actually have two champions back to back, because you can instantly toss. Say there's like an unstop and a barrier champion right beside each other. You can, hell yeah, you can run up, bonk, get the anti-barrier, start shooting, destroy the barrier, run up to the unstop, and then do the ignition, instantly stunning him, which you have Radiant, annihilate him with this. That general flow and build crafting is what I'm wanting to implement in any of their builds. And all of my builds have a general flow.
The farm's running undisturbed, at least for the immediate future.
Peachy. We'll take that win as long as we can make it work. Good job out there.
All of my builds have a general flow, like I said. This flow is complete survivability for me and my allies. Just the only thing is that they'll have to like collect it, so to speak, like a moat. Which is why I personally always call out, I have Fire NATO here, I have Fire NATO there, because they're in the shit, they're not going to see it. I am guessing, if you're very good hearing, you heard me, I don't know the right word, breathing in, breathing out, I forget the right word, because I was about to burp. Or belch, I think is the right word. And excuse me. This build, I hope you try it out and just have a general play test with it, because this overarching play style you can adapt so many times, because you don't necessarily need Skyburners. You could run Tommy's Matchbook and do general Same thing with Sol Invictus. You don't necessarily need this if you don't want to. This is just a look at how these interact, how you can do shit with this and just have general build crafting. My previous video on any weather builds was a specific build that used all sorts of things that could not be interchanged. This general build can be. Technically, okay. I think to classify it as a build, you will need the Phoenix Cradle. The Phoenix Cradle is the general thing you're going to build off of, but you can apply Scorch in so many different ways where you don't necessarily need this entire thing, is the best way to put it. But personally, it is just a proof of concept for how you can just build into different things, because I don't really see a lot of people trying out things, or not trying out things, little bits here and there of how different synergies work. Like, for an example, the precision knife in my last video. People do not play with the aspect of causing Scorch and then tossing that knife, causing ignition. You could do that in PvP. That entire build from last video, or not last video as in the video I made last video in any other builds, you could do that in PvP. You could do that entire build in PvP, and it should work as well if you can do the combo. If you can do the hip fire and then the melee, that causes ignition. And I don't see people running that typically. People would rather run, I think it was proximity knife and the incendiary grenade to instantly cause ignition, but you could do that so much more effectively. Because it's a Hail Mary. You don't have to see them, you don't have to do anything, it's their general direction, but it's not guaranteed at all. Where, say for example, you're fighting a well. Hell, you could be fighting a bubble. If you're good in movement, you can like get in, cause the Scorch, dodge out, double jump or something if they don't have a shotgun, and the newest sandbox, they're not necessarily going to have a shotgun, they could not have a shotgun, but they don't have a shotgun, you can get in, cause the Scorch. Get out. They don't kill you, try your best to not let them kill you, and then get back in, toss the knife. Hell, what you could do is have an ally running solar with you. Say for trials, for example, you're running duos. You only need duos. You have a guy running the variety of solar grenades. Like, hell, this will be perfect. Run that, run in, plop it down in the middle of the bubble, or specifically bubble for this example, because that's the best example for this. You plop it down, they're causing Scorch. Your hunter gets in, tosses the knife at them anywhere. It doesn't have to be a headshot, doesn't have to be a body shot, anywhere. That instantly breaks their overshot. I do not think that will be a kill on the Bubble Titan. I don't know. It might be. But that boom, and then you can get the kill. Actually, wait. I think I just realized what the problem is. Like, okay, damage value shouldn't really change here and there because I didn't have an overshoot anytime I didn't die, and they didn't have an overshoot every time they didn't die. Sometimes they didn't have any overshoot or any buffs or anything and just didn't die to the ignition. But that might not even work at all. Was when I'm okay. The newest health increases did not take into consideration ignitions, volatile, Scorch in general. Did not take into consideration a lot of these different status effects that, for example, ignitions have a very tight window that they can kill. I think it was around 230, so any form of overhealth at all, hell, because it's an ability, it could be doing less. So if I, say, have, but that still wouldn't even be possible because sometimes they don't have health regen, but even if they do, the 2 waves might have to be enough to cause the 230 damage, even though, I don't know. Like I said, a lot of little pieces here and there that I don't even know for how this system of builds and general playstyle can work. That's what I fucking love about Destiny, and I am... Okay. I've said this in previous videos. My videos are so you can get to know me, but there is a general thing that is the main thing. The general thing for this is any weather builds, the build you are seeing in front of you. But I still want you to get to know me. My dream job, and the reason why I'm making all this in the first place, so you can get to know me and get to know everything about me, just about, because I'm wanting to make games. Or, I'm wanting to do more than just make games. I'm wanting to expand in every field I possibly can and making it as good for the typical man, typical person, just not trying to Scrooge McDuck it at all. Just completely, any dollar I make is for the people. Just about. Like, after I get good footing, after I get good groundwork under me. I can then put more money, so to speak, and then build off of there, build off of there. Like, my plan is to be completely self-reliant when it comes to energy, when it comes to all sorts of shit, so I don't have to pay those bills, which then will allow me to have all that money extra to then dump it into other things I'm wanting to do, which will help other people. That general cycle of make it as peak efficiency as possible, and then go from there, which will allow all sorts of things to run smoother. And I'm going to do that for my systems, my corporation, because corporations you can't transfer money from corporation to corporation if you have different corporations under you, if I remember correctly. So you have to have one big corporation that does everything else because of how I'm wanting to run it and how the legal system works. I have to have one big corporation, but all that's besides the point. Uh, I was going to say something specific. I had a point for all of this. Oh yeah, Destiny's. Okay, I'm gonna remember this. I've gotten so much better at getting back to my train of thought while doing these videos. I have personally been improving myself while making these videos, which is part of the reason why I've been enjoying this so much. Even though I get like a comment every month on one of my videos, and I've only gotten 2 comments in my YouTube career, which is, or 3, but one of them got deleted because it was just a guy wanting to be a dick. I do not even care about it. He deleted. I'm not even gonna say the video was on because I don't even care. That's in the past. He just wanted to be a dick. But that guy, those 3 are the only YouTube comments I've ever gotten this entire career on my specific posts and different things like that. Like, I've gotten replies, different things like that, but never on my own videos. But I had a point. Destiny build crafting is so amazing that I'm going to actually work with that general philosophy of this stacks up, or how do I put this? How different things synergize together, like how volatile, for an example, with void in general, say somebody applies volatile. You as the Titan explode it and do that. Instantly cause the health regen, instant health for you and allies, which can do a whole fuck ton of shit. Well, you didn't necessarily apply the volatile, you just exploded them and then cascaded it. Different things like that work in this game, and it's just fucking beautiful. How different synergies work, and how different build style or different builds can synergize with other builds because of the overall effect, and it's just fucking beautiful. But a good example of it in one gun is actually the shotgun every PvP player really, really wants. Conditional finality. And to be honest, I really want it because it's just a beautiful gun. But that shows it off fucking beautifully. Because stasis, when you freeze the thing and you shatter it, you do more damage to the target. Or you freeze it, the shatter, you do damage to it with the shatter. And it also stuns overload. Or not overload, it stuns unstoppable. Both ignition and shatter stun unstoppable. But the beautiful thing about that is you're shattering them and igniting them if you dump both shots into them back to back. That's what's beautiful about that synergy of insta doing a fuck ton of damage with both of them. And say you're running stasis or solar build overall, you can have solar and stasis surge if you really want to, and double up, or not double up, add even more damage onto that already high damage package on 2 shots. Sure, you have to reload it, but the reload stat actually isn't that bad. And okay, last bit, and then we'll talk about what I want to talk about with my game. But something awesome. Destiny has had a big habit of giving exotics that have unique. I keep wanting to say subclass foundry. Frame. There we go. I'm a gunsmith, and I forget that. And I say I'm a gunsmith because I absolutely love the guns and everything I do, and D2 guns are fucking beautiful. But, shit, my phone. The conditional finality is a specific frame altogether. It is a double barrel frame that is unlike any other weapon. And the other times they have done that is like with the Forerunner, a special ammo sidearm. Sure, this is unique to the special ammo sidearm we have, but it was a step towards it. The best example is trace rifles. Trace rifles were not a legendary option for so long, even past this. And keep in mind, this is like chronological. This is Red War, and then it goes the next campaign, next campaign, next campaign. Then even the next campaign. Still, even farther down, there is no, or not next campaign. These are now seasons. When you see the symbol, these are now seasons. This is a campaign, 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 this is a campaign. Or no, that's season, that's campaign, that's a season, that's season, that's campaign. In Forsaken, which is that symbol, they went to seasons, which is why you have these two seasons, and then that one too. But that's campaign, which was Shadowkeep. There we go. I was trying to remember what that was called, but all the way down this list, there was not a trace rifle until around no, it was a little bit before. It was there, I believe. That season is when we finally got the first trace rifle that was a legendary, which was this one. Which that season that had the season that had the linear Vubler range driver had a bonus pack in that season called the 30th anniversary, which had this. This is meant to be inspired by a Halo weapon, Covenant. Like you can just see the Covenant inspired design because it's just fucking beautiful. But it also had the Forerunner, which is this hard hitting son of a bitch. Which, okay, this needs a rework. Like, not in anything else. Like, its general package is amazing, only its catalyst. That catalyst is not even worth getting, really. Not even in PvE. It's sure it's a cool grenade, and it does allow you to grenade jump, like in not Call of Duty, like in Halo, different things like that. It's a cool thing, but it shouldn't cost ammo. Like that should not be a cost. Like if it costs your grenade energy, like a portion of your grenade energy to do it after a final blow, that I could get behind. But costing your ammo in anything, it's just not good, relatively speaking, to anything else. And even if okay, in PvP specifically, you're not going to be able to get that grenade because you have to get 3 shots, and then it costs 4 shots to get it, or 3 shots to head, 4 shots to make it into a grenade. Excuse me. There's why I didn't mute theirs because I had my hands up to gesture. That's how I talk. But or how I be intelligent and just talk smoother is with my hands. I don't get it, but I can. Uh, and part of the reason why I'm having so much trouble staying on track is because I'm not bouncing off of somebody. If I have somebody to bounce off of, I could talk a lot better. I'm not good at the having nothing to bounce off of and seeing if I'm not talking right, but no background radiation. I think is a good way to put it. Background noise, not background. That's a bad way to put it. And no one to bounce off of in the conversation makes the conversation not hard to have because you're just talking to yourself. That's a good way to put it. But with the different styles of weapons, I'm expecting at some point a double barrel shotgun to be introduced. And that could have the entire impact on all sorts of shit. Like, okay, I'm imagining the double barrel frame. I don't know, but I'm guessing it is relatively a high-powered boom boom. I have not played with it. I do not know how much damage that does, and by it I mean conditional finality specifically, because that is the first instance of this frame. If it does more damage per pellet, and how the specific hip fire might be how it works, where each barrel has a different hip fire, which is something else. That could be like the general design philosophy of this double barrel frame, but don't know what they're going to go with exactly. But I'm guessing they're going to go with high damage on both shots, where you can have 2 shots, sure, but it's high damage. Because typically, when you have low magazine, you have more damage to make up for. You have to constantly reload. Like with snipers being able to one-shot dink, rocket launchers being just a rocket launcher, just a fuck ton of damage, different things like that. The more ammo, the more shots you should have to land. Less ammo, the less shots you should have to land. That general design philosophy. 2 barrels means a fuck ton of damage in each shot. That general thing. And that actually leads directly into what I want to talk about, which is why I went down this dark tangent in the first place. RRP is going to be my first foot in the door of game design. I have not even gotten my PC. I am poor. I can't get a PC. My PC I have right now can't even really run YouTube, which is fucking surprising. But or it can run YouTube, but barely, which is fucking surprising. Um, when I ever do get my PC, and I do think at some point I'm going to start a Kickstarter. I just don't even know where to be, or Patreon. I just don't even know where to begin because I know I'm going to want something to prove that I have something to put money in, and all I have is words. I don't have anything to prove to them that I'm very good at what I do, but or going to be very good at what I do because I'm going to sink so much time and effort into it, and I'm one of those people that can just, when I put my mind to it, I can do it. I'm one of those people, but. My design philosophy for guns and general things is going to be very similar to this, where not very similar to this, where different. Okay, how there's going to be a lot of differences. I'm gonna try and explain it as simple as possible. I'm sorry if I have to explain a lot more, but the everything about my game is going to be different, so to speak. There's going to be general similarities like the rarity system, how rarities in this actually do matter in everything besides damage values. Like you could have a gray and do as much damage as a legendary, even exotic of the same frame, only if the exotic or legendary has like damage boosting perks. That's the only time the damage is going to be different, but you're going to have varying accuracy, different reload stat, different things like that, depending on where it is. But the raw damage is not different, which is something beautiful about this game and something I'm going to expand on, so to speak, in my game. I am not going to have the rarities be obsolete. Each rarity is something you would want to relatively use in the thing, which is why I'm going to have a common, relatively speaking, a legendary, relatively speaking, and a exotic, relatively speaking. I'm dabbling on, and keep in mind this is all just, I'm thinking about it, trying to see what would work the best, because I have not been able to make it at all, not even start on it. Once I do have the ability to sink my teeth into it, I'll know more about how I'm going to do this, but I'm thinking about a fourth thing because of how I'm going to make exotics, and best similarities between them. Legend or commons are going to be, or not, commons are not a good example for this. More blue. Blues are a good example for this, commonality wise. Blues are going to have no perk. Okay, sorry, I'm going to have to explain a good bit here so you can understand this and how it's very fun and unique, relatively speaking, but having the same general design philosophy but expanded upon because of how I'm going to do it. The blues are going to have, or my general build system is fully open. I'm going to advertise it as a fully open build system where even your weapons, no matter which weapon it is fully customizable, basically to your full extent. Like if you want slower fire rate, even on an AR, you want slower fire rate, more damage, possibly more range, you can slot that on if you have the mods first, like if you have the actual component to put in there, and if you have enough places to put it. Like, for an example, my blues, relatively speaking, are going to have more mod slots, which allows you to have more customization options where you can fully customize. Like, these are going to be peak PvP. If you want just absolute workhorse of a weapon, that is what you get. You get a blue, you build it however you want. Like it's meant to be like the Call of Duty type of framework where you can build anything off of this one thing, but there's going to be a lot of weapons in this category, and each weapon type will at least have one. I know I'm going to have more than that, but at least one out the gate. Which has a lot of customization. The purples have less customization options, but each one rolls, and I do want random rolls because that gives you more of a thing to go after. Sure, it's more of a time sink, but that's why I'm introducing the blues, where if you just want to play the game, you don't have to worry about it. Like, there's going to be a mixture of a good mixture, like a good, how it's going to be more like an 80-90 on, or not 80-90. Actually, okay. You're going to be able to do, without grinding a single thing, just doing the missions, just unlocking the things as you go, doing the missions, that general thing. You're going to be able to unlock, and keep in mind this is relatively free. I am not, my game is going to be a $60 purchase, relatively speaking. I don't know how much it's going to be, but $60 purchase, and you get every season, everything for free. All you have to buy is the cosmetics, and not have to, that's a bad way to put it. All you relatively have to buy is the cosmetics if you so choose. But going about that a little bit, which is why this is so amazing, I'm wanting to expand what cosmetics really means. Not even similar to the finals. I was going to give that as an example, but not even similar to the finals. More emblem creator in Call of Duty, like old emblem, Black Ops 2 style emblem creator, but it's 3D, allowing you to have different shapes, where what you buy is pre-edited designs, which for the people that want to buy it, boom, you have that insta copy and paste, which you can copy and paste multiple times, have a general design that you want to go with off of this one shape, so to speak, that you can buy, put it there. But it's not going to be as simple as like a circle. I'm not going to do that. Like, these are going to be complex shapes that are finely crafted, finely tuned, that you could technically make with the system in the game, but it's going to be more perfected, so to speak, more finely combed, finely brushed. That's going to be the cosmetic system in my game, which sure is going to have a lot of depth, but like how you can buy cosmetics, there's also going to be cosmetics you can earn and unlock. Which, saying that, going back to how you unlock weapons and shit, how many weapons you're going to have, you're not going to have to worry about shit. Sure, you're going to see exotics, and you're going to want them, or the fourth tier, and I do think I'm going to have a fourth tier, because my exotics aren't powerhouses. They're not going to be anything like, for example, the Hawk Moon, which, if you hit, I think it's like, actually, with the damage change and how different things work, I think it's still around the same amount of value, around the same amount of damage, uh, four crits, 4 crits minimum before getting to that final shot because of paracausal shot. That last one will be a crit kill instantly, but I don't know if they can have any damage reduction or be in a well to not get one shot. I don't know if that counts, but I think it was 4 minimum on any resilience is what I want to say, but that general powerhouse is not what I'm wanting to do. My exotics, and something that I'm going to have with my game, is each weapon slot. I'm not going to go into the weapons, general thing. I'm trying to make this pretty simple, but the weapons, you can have three exotics because of how my system's going to work. But each exotic is a gimmicky weapon, so to speak. Like, I'm wanting one of the exotics I know I'm going to make is going to be an SMG. A air SMG, which, because RRP stands for Recurrent Program, there's going to be a fuck ton of magic involved, but a lot of fun. It's going to be more Overwatch, where it's random bullshit go, so to speak, but if you actually want to look in the lore, there's a reason behind everything. There's a track to it. There's a pathway you can actually explain it away, and that's why I'm wanting to implement the library, like also all sorts of different things that I'm going to have in the game, which makes it its own ecosystem that you as the gamer will want to dive into, sink your teeth into, completely just study and understand if you're the type of person. Like, this is not me calling him out. This is more of as an example. I don't want people to misinterpret anything I'm saying, which is why I try my best to explain myself. My name is Bife. He's the type of person that sinks his teeth into all sorts of games lores. Basically, any game I've ever, or not any game, he has blah, blah, blah. He has had lore videos on all sorts of different videos or all sorts of different games because he likes them. That's just what he likes doing, diving deep into the lore. My game's lore will be better explained, better consumed. You can get to the lore a hell of a lot easier to read it and understand it, and there is in-game examples of how different things work. Like, the gameplay, for example, will not be necessarily a one-to-one, but as one-to-one as the lore, or as in lore combat would be, as possible. But it is Reaper magic, timey-wimey, because it's Reaper magic, there's timey-wimey bullshit everywhere. Because I'm not wanting to get into it, but there is literally instances in the lore, like how you can have an instance in like World of Warcraft where it's this specific time is happening for you, no one else is really experiencing it. That happens in this too, but it's also in an instant, where when you go into this instance, you have that instant, relatively speaking, in lore, which is why there's a lot of timey-wimey shit going on and different things like that, because it's dealing with extra planes, dimensions, different things like that, and I'm going to fully explain all of that in lore too. But uh, exotics are going to be very... Sorry, I went down another train. Uh, I don't think I even talked about the SMG. The SMG is going to be a wind SMG, which is going to be an element in the game that you can fully dive into and fully understand more and more about, and different playstyles you can build off of wind. The wind SMG is going to allow you to fly in the opposite direction you're looking. So it's a skill weapon that allows you to go anywhere you want, because its stats are basically going to be no damage, maximum recoil, which allows you to fly in the opposite direction you're shooting. So you can look up to go down, look down to go up, that general thing. And if you're good at knowing the map, which is why it's a skill weapon or skill tool, because not doing any damage, you can fly around, know exactly where the enemy is because they called them out. Trial I did, they pinged them, something like that. You fly to them, spin around, pull out a shotgun, bang, they're dead. That general thing. So you can have incredible precision, basically like TF2 rocket jumping, and different things like that is what I'm wanting to implement, just to have more fun with the concept of Reapers, just magical entities that can that can do shit with your very soul, that have to go places, because who's to say where your soul goes before the Reaper gets you, basically. And that's why there's instances and different things like that, but that general thing. Um, the legendaries are going to be... Oh yeah, I did talk about legendaries, how there's going to have specific roles, that's what you're going to grind for. The third or the fourth tier of weapon, I think I'm going to want to have how exotics work in this, where it's... you can only have one, but I think I'm also going to want it where you can't even have an exotic if you have one of these, where you can only have legendaries if you have one of these. Because these, I think I'm going to want to be powerhouses. Not tools, like, say, for skyburners. Powerhouses, like, the best example I can think of, where is it? There it is. This weapon. This weapon would be a rainbow, and I think I'd want to do a rainbow because rainbow is just cool and it's meant to be like a cosmic weapon. Like, this is a god's weapon you are using, which is why you can't even have an exotic with this weapon. It is just... and how I can explain this away is the exotics are divine, but not god. You can have multiple divine weapons on you, but not a godly weapon like this would be, relatively speaking. And that's how I'm going to explain it. I think that's how I'm going to explain away. That's off the top of my head, and that works pretty fucking well. But the what was I going to say? The rainbow weapons are going to be like this, but in gameplay, 1K is... or it's 1K because 1,000 voices, even though it doesn't have 1K in it. Everyone calls it 1K, at least I do. 1K, because of its intrinsic trait, how that's described, in my game, it will actually be a supercharged beam of death. It will be... you have this gun, you shoot it at a bitch, it will go to the next damage phase, no matter what. This is a guaranteed damage phase, but if I have this, I don't think I'm going to have this, but this description is what these things are going to have, relatively speaking, where this is a high-powered, oh fuck, type of thing. But, okay, how the ammo system is going to work in my game is everything has relatively infinite ammo, but on a timer. Primary weapons are on a infinite timer, not infinite timer, that sounds bad. They are on a no timer. It's every time you have to reload, you have to reload. It doesn't matter. Specials are on a longer cooldown, depending on the weapon. They have longer or shorter, but longer cooldown, which gives you maximum two... I think without any building into it, you have two mags, depending on what the weapon is. But you have two mags. And something I'm going to implement is auto-loading holster across everything, where you can always swap. You don't have to worry about shit, where if you're playing relatively properly, you can reload your weapon, where that's what you're going to want to do if you want to dump everything, and if you have it built into reload speed, that gives you a faster rate of fire with that specific weapon, or you don't want to necessarily swap. There is reasons not to, but you have auto-loading holster constantly, which allows you to auto-loading holster is Destiny thing, which when you have it holstered for 5 seconds, it automatically reloads the weapon from reserves to full magazine. That's going to be something in my game base, because reloading is stupid. And if you're a magical, or not stupid, reloading is boring. Better way to put it. And if you are a magical death dealer, why do you have to reload your stowed weapon? Why not reload the weapon in your hand? And even then, there's room for why do you have to reload at all, but gameplay purposes, different builds, and how balancing works in games. But, and that is going to be in lore, not the game purposes, but there's going to be a reason. I haven't thought about that. I know how bad that sounds, relatively speaking, but I find that as a bonus because you're seeing more of the background and how games are made, how stories are made over time. Oh, I am almost out of time. What was I going to say? The god weapons are going to be incredibly hard to get if you ever do find one in my games. They are going to be fucking hard to get, which is going to be part of the appeal of them, where it's going to be harder than exotics in this game. Like you're gonna want most of them are going to be a challenge to an extent to get, not an RNG drop because that's just fucking boring. Because RNG is just kind of lame. That's something like for other things that you want in this game or want in games in general. For high-powered things like this, like for an example, Divinity. Divinity is one of the best weapons in this game because of what it does. It gives you free crits, basically, gives you damage buff just for free, and all sorts of shit just for free. It was the best for raids, hands down, when it comes to support. Div and Well Bitch were typically the same person because of how much things you could do with that. But, I had a point. I started focusing on Zelda barking, which is my little sister's dog. Guessing she wants outside. Uh, Okay. This had a challenge to get in a raid no one wants to do ever, but people typically grit their teeth to get somebody to Divinity because Divinity is just a very fucking good weapon, like I said. Uh, they are going to work kind of like Divinity, where it's a quest. It's a thing you have to do, but where it's a complete secret, where the community has to find it. And once you do find it, have fun completing it. Because my game is going to be based around exploration and skill expression, where the movement itself is a skill expression. We're sure you can have easier movement depending on your build, but you are going to have to master your movement to get anything done. Not anything done, to fully explore the maps, because there is going to be no such thing as out of bounds in my maps. If you can get out of bounds, first there might be, because I should never make that claim, but when you see a thing out in the distance and you think, hey, why is that out there? Try and get to it, because there's typically going to be something there. And some things are going to be obvious, like a no-go zone, because magic voodoo hoodoo, like I can easily show something for this is not meant to be like that. That's relatively out of the zone. Hell, patrol zones is how I'm going to do it. Like actually, like how patrol zones are in this, how there's patrol areas that you can go in Destiny. It's going to be very similar to that, and I could actually call it very similar to that, where it's your Reapers. The Reapers for this section are going in this area to do patrolling this area, and if you go out of it, you're kind of leaving your post. Why would you do that? But anything in that, and that could be off cliffs, that could be off all sorts of shit, anything in that is free range to try and find shit. And my game is going to be very Banjo-Kazooie-esque, where there's random shit everywhere. There's random cosmetics you can unlock, which is a way you can unlock cosmetics. There's random lore pieces you can unlock while just exploring. There's random, like, something I'm going to do for my Patreons or my Kickstarter, however I'm going to do it, is there's going to be a place in somewhere, don't know how you're going to get to it, but a place somewhere in my game that is a temple. I don't know the right terminology, but basically of like how the source wall in DC is a wall made by the primordial gods kind of thing. This is going to be a temple made by the primordial gods in the lore that has the names of each person, and because I do not really give a shit about naming, I know that words are hurtful and different things like that, but it's a game. I don't just have fun. Sure, their name is like that, but it's their name. Don't. It's like teabagging. Teabagging is absolutely annoying. You should never do it. But you can't really ban somebody for teabagging. They're just doing something. And if the name is absolutely horrible in the game, I will ban them. I'll look into it, try and get them to change it because it is hurting other people's feelings. But I personally do not care about it. So if like a Kickstarter, Patreon, I will change it. So you can't just read it where you have to go into it and actually figure it out. But it'll be like Wingdings, something like that. But those names, no matter what it is, are going to be there because I want to honor them no matter what their name is for that donation. I'm going to see if I can change the name at all, but if their name is something horrible, I'm going to put it up there because that's just their name. With all that said, I hope y'all enjoy the video, and I'll catch you on the next one. I am sorry that this is a lot longer than any other build is going to be, possibly. I've been rambling a lot more recently, which is a good thing and a bad thing.